How many of you are leaders? Raise your hand. How many don't know if they're a leader? Raise their hand. How many of you don't want to be a leader? Raise your hand. Okay, so I had some don't knows, and I had some people just look at me. So that's good. All right, I'm gauging the room. All right. So the real answer to that question is everyone should have raised their hand. And when you understand about leadership, leadership is defined as influence. Leadership is defined as what? Influence. So no matter what, we all have some type of sphere of influence. You all have influence over somebody, good, bad, or other. The key is, how are you going to lead in your space? Okay? So I want you to think about that. Whenever anybody answers the question, are you a leader? You should automatically think about, I'm a leader. Now, the fact that you're here at a conference to come back and bring good back to your communities and to your schools, that's a leader mode right there. So whether you see it or not, leadership is not a position. Okay? It's not just a position. And sometimes they think, well, because I'm not number one, I'm not the leader. No, because I know some people that actually influence the lead, right? They don't have to be up front to lead, right? So it's very important to understand that. So again, let me see you, who's the leader in the room? All right, so we're going to start my morning chant because y'all still like to start the morning chant. We're going to say, I'm a leader.
I'm a leader.
You're a leader.
You're a leader.
We're a leader.
We're a leader.
Let's go.
Let's go.
That's my chant for the morning. So say, I'm a leader.
I'm a leader.
You're a leader.
You're a leader.
We're a leader. Let's go. Now let's say it like you had your coffee in the morning. I'm a leader.
I'm a leader.
You're a leader.
You're a leader.
We're a leader. Let's go. All right. So now really here's the thing. I want you to write this down. Everything rises and falls off of leadership. So that means leadership is what? Important, right? What's more important is this. If the leader is not healthy, how does that impact the people that they lead? That's a question. I'm going to throw that out there. Who's going to raise their hand and answer that one? If the leader is not healthy, how will that impact the people that they lead?
It could be projecting.
Mm-hmm. So projecting. What else? Good. Help me. Crickets. In the back. Denying. Insecurity. Right? So all those things can be habits and effects of an unhealthy leader. So let's define what let's look at what an unhealthy leader is. So we're going to have 3 leaders today, and only 2 of them are healthy. Okay? The first leader is a toxic leader. So when we think about a toxic leader, what comes to mind when you hear the word toxic? All right, I'm slowly losing my ears, so I'm gonna need y'all to project. Berating. Okay. What else? Unhealthy. Okay. Self-centered. What else? Insecure. Forcing opinions. Those are all actions that happen out of a toxic, but it doesn't explain what toxic is. Self-serving. That's an action. So I'm gonna give you all a definition. Okay. What else?
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, sorry.
A toxic leader, I would say, is one that's imposing on others.
Okay. Imposing on others. This is still actions. Yes. Harmful to another person. Okay? That's the closest definition. So when you think toxic, think of this. Poisonous. Insidious. Poisonous means that it's toxic. And there are some poisons that can kill you right away, right? And then there's other poisons that are slow poison. I mean, it can take a while for you to find out. And when you have a toxic leader, most of the time when you have toxic tendencies, all those tendencies that y'all just wrote out are toxic tendencies, right? That's it might not kill the team immediately, but it's a slow kill. And we don't want to be toxic, right? So when we define toxic leaders are me-focused. Okay? Me-focused. Say me-focused. So when we talk about a toxic leader, we're seeing someone who says things like this. Well, I can fix it. I can do it. I will make it happen. Right? Have you ever met anybody like that? Have you ever seen someone who lead like that and it just looks like they're the only person, that they're the hope for the world, and all they say is I. and and when it's time to take the credit, what are they saying? I. Now that's a toxic leader. Toxic leaders are the weakest forms of leadership. Now here's the funny thing about leadership when you're talking about toxic. You can have a toxic leader that's effective. All right? You can have a toxic leader that will get the job done. But the problem with a toxic leader that gets the job done is who's the only one standing in the end? Them. Right? Because they done poisoned everybody else that's around them. Everybody else around them was that supported them, lifted them up, raised the vision up. They're all dead. They're all gone. Is that a leadership style that you want to have? No. Because in the end, even then, the toxic leader becomes toxic to themselves, and they're still slowly poisoning themselves while they're poisoning you. So it ends up being effective for a season, but not really effective as a leader. So it's a weak leader. So if that's a toxic leader, what are examples of a healthy leader? So I'll share one thing. Let me go back. Well, toxic leaders do what? This is the effect of your team. Poor team performance. Okay? Toxic leaders may start out rising, but eventually, because of the poison, you have the people that are there are now toxic now, and now you have toxic breeding toxic. Why? Because what happens when you hurt people? Hurt people do what? So heal people do what? Say that again with confidence. Hurt people do what? Heal people do what? So we want to make sure that we're healing. So because the toxic effect has slowly poisoned the team, poor team performance. So if you're looking at your any cheerleaders in the room, any sports people in the room, there we go in the back. All right. Okay. Whatever team that you have, all right, you want to make sure that your team, you're aware of your team members. Why? Because, again, the health of your team members is going to be the health of the division. Another thing is poor team development. You ever watched how, if you watch a toxic leader in their team, what's happening constantly? Huh? Fighting. And because of the fighting, what happens? The team is always doing what? Changing. So if they're always changing, can you develop something that's always changing? If they're never staying with you? No, you're always starting from scratch, which again means that you're not going as fast or as forward as you can, right? Another one is the teamwork environment is now toxic. How many of you have ever worked at a toxic environment? I worked at McDonald's, it was toxic. Okay. How did you feel leaving a toxic environment?
It was like a weight off my shoulders.
Yes. They were like, what else? What was your experience toxic? I saw hands.
It was so bad. I was so ready to quit my job without having another job.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left without having another job. But it felt so good.
Oh, it felt good. Yeah, when you leave it. And listen, as you mature and go into the workforce, there's going to be a lot of toxic leaders in life. Okay, you have to learn how to manage your way around them. Okay, and not let them infect you. So when you get around toxic people, the first thing to be able is to identify toxic people in your personal life. Because if they're toxic in your personal life, most likely they're going to be toxic in their work environment too. And you got to be very sensitive to who you're connecting yourself to in this journey that you're going, even in the workplace. Because you can walk in there all chipper and say, today's going to be a great day. And then someone just get at the coffee table is like, I hate this job, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden you're like, I hate this job, blah, 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 blah. So really who you're around makes a difference, okay?